Hi, my name is Dr. John Douillard, and welcome to LifeSpa.com, where we prove ancient medical wisdom with modern science. And today I want to talk about spring, what's happening in the spring, and how spring naturally incurs a ketogenesis in the body. I'm not a fan of a ketogenic diet, which is eating 70 to 85% of your diet as fat, for the reasons that the main reason is that the only country or a group of people in the world that actually do eat a ketogenic diet quite naturally are the Inuits in the Arctic Circle. And they eat about an 80% diet of fat naturally, but they acquired a gene over the last 10,000 years to not become ketogenic. So it makes me pause for a minute and go, why would the only culture in the world that actually eats a naturally occurring ketogenic diet acquire a gene to not let them become ketogenic if a ketogenic diet was so incredibly healthy for us? Now, not to say that flipping the body to burn fat versus sugar is not going to be dramatically beneficial for a period of time. But when you start having people eat a ketogenic diet for a very long period of time, it's sort of why the Atkins diet went out of favor. It was because people were having kidney issues, and it's a very harsh diet. So what happens, though, in nature is every spring we naturally reset fat burning with a harvest which is extremely austere. If you think about what's harvesting in the spring, there isn't much food. You're digging up the roots and you're waiting for the leafy greens to come out of the ground. Your reserves from the fall feast are gone, and now we're waiting for hopefully something to come out of the ground soon so we don't starve to death. Historically, getting through the early spring and even late spring was where winter can still be really harsh, was really, really hard because we didn't have those reserves lasting. That's why they created fermented vegetables to help things store and last through the winter. Cheese was made, and it was there specifically to help create a food that would last through the winter. Religions do all their vision quests in the spring. We have Lent for Christians and Passover for the Jewish faith and Ramadan for Muslims, and we have vision quests for the Native Americans. I mean, it's not a mistake that people went into a spiritual retreat during the spring, because that's when the body would burn fat the best. And fat is stable fuel, long-lasting fuel, sleep through the night fuel, handle stress like water off a duck's back fuel. We want to be better fat burners, but it doesn't mean that we don't burn sugar and we don't burn carbohydrates and we don't burn starches. I wrote an article, if you guys want to check it out, where I compared the diets of the ancient humans versus modern humans, and it has shocked you that the amount of protein, carbs, and fats that they ate compared to what we eat today is almost identical, within 5%. The things that leaped off the page wasn't the proteins, carbs, and fats. It was clearly the amount of fiber they ate was about 5 times more than us, and the amount of potassium was 3 to 5 times more than us. Those are the two things that leapt off the page. Everything else was about the same. So to say that we should not eat starches and we should just eat a high protein, high fat diet is actually quite dangerous. And even if you have this new version of a ketogenic diet, which is low protein, high fat, it still has the same problems. It is not a naturally occurring diet. Getting into ketogenesis happened naturally this time of the year, when we didn't have a lot of food. No grains are being harvested. It is the no wheat, no grain season. I'm the guy who wrote the Eat Wheat book. It's not the season for wheat, not the season for grains, not the season for nuts. It's the season for seeds. It's the season for beans. It's the season for lots and lots of vegetables and root vegetables. But it's a very austere time of the year. So we should be thinking, how can I do that? Well, the best way we can mimic that is with what's called intermittent fasting. And Ayurveda supports intermittent fasting, particularly in the springtime. And we're in the spring. And intermittent fasting could include just having a very long trip from dinner to breakfast, at least 13 hours. Another way to do intermittent fasting is go from lunch all the way to breakfast, which is one of my favorite ways, because the science shows that our circadian clock loves it when we have breakfast and lunch and no dinner versus lunch and supper. Eating the same calories between breakfast and lunch and supper, people gain weight with supper, all kinds of problems happen with supper, where the circadian clock supports better health, better weight, better digestion, better blood pressure, all kinds of benefits when you have breakfast and lunch and no supper, because that's when the digestive strength is dialing down in the evening. So think about that. Think about fasting from a good breakfast, good lunch, and nothing for the springtime. Great way to get you back to 2 meals a day. Stop eating so much in general. It's a great way to do that. Don't strain, though. If you find yourself starving, then your body's thinking this is an emergency, which is going to make you store fat, crave more sugar, and defeat the whole purpose of the entire thing. So this has to be something that happens to you sort of gracefully and naturally. But it is a time where you can do other things, like even taking 1 day a week and doing a juice fast or a water fast or a green drink fast. Those are great classic ways to get some fasting done. And then additionally, Ayurveda says not only do we want to support intermittent fasting and eating a ton less in the spring because there's just simply no food, we want to help the body detoxify, help the liver detoxify, flush the bile out of the body, detoxify the body. All the bitter roots are being harvested to clean the liver and detoxify the body at this time. When you go into fat burning, you burn your own fat. There's no fat in your diet. You burn your own fat. So you burn fat for fuel, but you also burn fat to detoxify. Old stores of fat, toxins in the fat cells are going to be burned. So one of the way Ayurveda amps that up is by doing a ghee khichdi cleanse. And this is the time of year we do our big group cleanse, our big 2-week Colorado cleanse. We have 500 to 800 people cleansing together every spring and every fall. Today happens to be the very last day to sign up for our group cleanse. If you're interested in our 14-day Colorado cleanse, which is a group cleanse, digestive reset, lymph cleanse, liver cleanse, and a fat detox to detox all the toxins from your fat cells. That Colorado cleanse registration for our cleanser starts on April 24th, ends tonight at midnight. So check that out. We also have our Anytime Colorado cleanse and also our Short Home cleanse, which is just a 4-day cleanse. But all these cleanses are based on a really cool concept. Taking ghee, clarified butter, in the morning. Ghee is the highest source of butyric acid on the planet as a food goes. And when you take ghee, it actually nourishes your intestinal skin and feeds the microbes in your body. We literally have microbes in our gut that make ghee or make butyric acid, Clostridium butyricum, for example. Butyric acid was named after butter because that's the highest source of butyric acid. And butyric acid in your gut is the #1 driver of intestinal health for the cells, driver of immunity, supports the health integrity of the intestinal microbiology. It supports the integrity of the function of those bugs for blood sugar and mood. It's the #1 fatty acid. So by taking a little bit of ghee every morning and then having a no-fat diet, we usually recommend a khichdi diet, but even for people who can't take any grains, and I get that, there's people like that, there are many options there to get the diet, but classically it was ghee in the morning with a no-fat khichdi diet for 4 days, or in the Colorado cleanse, it's a 7-day version of that. And then what you do is you have a no-fat diet, so you get this massive fat-burning kind of initiative in the morning when you take the ghee, a little more each day, and then no fat all day long, and it forces you to continue to stay in fat burning throughout the day. And after the second or third day, you flip into fat burning, your mood stabilizes, your hunger disappears, and you start feeling like, wow, I'm feeling so good. I'm feeling like my energy's good, my joints feel light. It's an amazing thing. Even the 4-day cleanse is a phenomenal cleanse. Women's World Magazine did a 40-day focus group and had a bunch of people do it from their readership. And they came back and said, oh my God, the results were amazing. People were losing, 10 to 11 pounds in the 4 days. And they had all these amazing benefits. And they did a feature cover story on the Short Home cleanse. And that is a free download, by the way. You go to my website, go to the Learn tab, hang left. There's some eBooks there, a bunch of free eBooks, which are more in-depth knowledge. And you can download that for free and get all the information how to do the 4-day Short Home cleanse. And you can also join us for our group cleanse, Colorado cleanse, if you want to bite off a 14-day cleanse, a full-blown reset for digestive strength. And again, very much teaching your body to digest and detox more efficiently so we don't need so much food. I mean, this whole ketogenesis fad is really based on the fact that calorie restriction, which makes us eat less, forces us to burn fat, has all kinds of benefits. When we eat less, we have decreased cardiovascular risk. We have increased mitochondrial energy production. We have decreased degeneration of the DNA or free radical damage to your genes. We have better and more stable blood sugar, longer lifespan, better health overall. And this Nobel Prize winning science on calorie restriction or fasting shows that it creates what's called autophagy, which is the self-eating, which is what autophagy means, the self-eating of damaged cells in your body. So your body will gobble up and clean up all the mess if you stop eating, giving it a break for a while. And spring is that time. It's that time to eat a little bit less and reset fat burning for the rest of the year. And it's also a time where there's a massive microbial surge in the soil that's taking place as we speak. And the deer would dig up the roots and eat those roots because there was nothing else to eat, right? And on those roots, massive numbers of spring bugs. And when they ate those roots, those bugs would inoculate your gut with new spring 2018 bugs that were right for this time of the year. Different bugs in the summer, different bugs in the fall and the winter. That is now Stanford University's research that has totally proven this ancient wisdom. So we do want to do this for the health and integrity of our microbiome. And this is nature's new year, the spring. It is the time for us to reset the microbiome and get us started for the rest of the year. So it happens now with fasting, intermittent fasting, eating less. Get my 3-Season Diet Challenge, which is my free monthly eating guide, where you get grocery lists and recipes and superfoods for every month of the year. So you know what's in season in the spring and get medicinal dosages of what nature had in store for this time of the year. Don't worry about what you shouldn't eat. Think about what you should eat more of. And that's the stuff that's happening in the spring. And you get that list for free on my homepage at lifespa.com. Go to the 3-Season Diet Challenge, sign up for it, and you get free seasonal monthly eating information, tell you exactly what's in season and how to get the right bugs from the soil on your foods in your gut every season for the rest of your life. So look at seasonal eating in the spring. It's very austere, low fat time of the year. Think about intermittent fasting and definitely think about doing some type of spring cleansing, either with our short home cleanse or our longer Colorado cleanse, which are group cleanse, doing it all together with all the support and me giving you conference calls and question and answer sessions. That ends tonight. But you can also do our Anytime Colorado cleanse. You do the 2-week cleanse on your own. All the information is there and show you how to do it. All right, guys, that's it for this week. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. John Douillard.